get into your safe shelter as the debris indicators is still showing that a little bit of spin in there, and that tornado warning continues. So again, southern portions of Warren County, northern Franklin County, you want to get into your safe shelter and away from windows in the center of your home for protection here. Let's check in one more time with that debris signature to see if we can see that again. It looks like there's less of a debris signature. Sometimes these spin up really quickly and then dissipate. We're hoping that is the case, but that tornado warning continues until about 12:30 in southern Warren and also northern Franklin County. So New Haven, Marthasville, Washington, right along 100 here along the Missouri River. And again, Dundee, you want to get in your safe shelter just in case that spin tightens a little bit more and that rotation gets a little bit more distinct, and hopefully debris is not being lofted. Scotty's going to talk a little bit.
Yeah, Jimmy, just to get you up to speed here a little bit more, we got some new information. We had the boundaries colliding in here from the different thunderstorms, and sometimes when those boundaries interact, that enhances that ability for a storm to spin. So these would be quick spin up tornadoes. At this point, it looks like that spin and that rotation has weakened just a little bit in these areas, but there's still something there where there's at least the indication close to Dundee. So, and these aren't moving very fast either, and they're also wrapped in rain most likely, or very close to being wrapped in rain. So it's not like you're going to be able to see a whole lot here. Just be in your safe place at this point, but that's that area just north of Dundee. You know, the area along and south of 94 in Warren County, and really right along Highway 100 here in northern Franklin County, those are the areas where we are most concerned at this point. We don't think this is going to last for an extended period of time, and may be able to cancel that tornado warning a little bit earlier. But right now, if you're in these areas, get into your safe place, as many walls between you and the outside as possible. In this particular scenario, you're probably safe if you're in the bathroom or in a hall closet. If you feel safer going to the basement, you certainly could do that. But we want you to stay safe in this type of scenario, of course. Otherwise, the focus really is shifting towards flash flooding across the rest of the area as we continue to see a tremendous amount of rainfall. But right now, it looks like the circulation, the best circulation, Jimmy, you've got it highlighted right there, is just north of Dundee.
Yeah, let's take a look at this again, Scotty, and just read you something from the National Weather Service. So a little bit of good news here. So just like we were saying, that debris signature seems to let up a little bit. So the rotation sections have decreased in intensity, which is good. So what we expect to happen here is a collision of the two boundaries, and that little bit of spin going on has weakened just a little bit. So they're going to go ahead and continue with that tornado warning for a small slither of northern Franklin County and southern portions of Warren County until 12:30. Like Scotty said, this could very well be canceled a little bit early, but we're putting this radar into motion here. Let's stop that. Just show you the very heavy rain and lightning that continues in this area also. And just looking at the Doppler winds one more time, see if we can see any more of that couplet. So there's just a little bit there right along the Missouri River and right north of Dundee. But again, we're not seeing that debris signature as much anymore, but that's a little bit better news there. Still, tornado warning continues for New Haven, Dundee, and Washington, Missouri, right along 47 there, and also 185 down to Lyon, just in case that spin tightens a little bit. And their tornado very well could have touched down already, maybe lifted a little bit now. And this is something we'll be watching for you and stay on until this threat has ended. So zooming in, there's that pink polygon. That's for an observed tornado by radar. And so that little bit of spin there was first over New Haven and Missouri there, right along the Missouri River, and went right over just north of Dundee and into Marthasville. And that's those merging storms that we've been seeing causing a little bit of spin in there. So we're not expecting, since there is some weakening, we're not expecting this to continue downstream. And so the bigger threat now is that extreme rainfall and the lightning that we're seeing. So the flooding has been a major issue, as we know, across the entire area. So once again, tornado warning for southern Warren County in Missouri, northern Franklin County, but a small slither of it where you see the pink polygon. Heavy showers and storms moving through, merging in this area, causing a little bit of a spin. And we're going to watch, let's look at the Doppler winds one more time to see if any of that, seeing if we see where green meets red here, and we're looking for a really tight couplet, and we're not seeing that at this point, which is good. That might mean that it's weakened. They're going to continue with that tornado warning until 12:30 for this area, so you want to stay in your safe shelter. Let's look at the debris signature. Again, not seeing that. So going back to just the storm activity that's moving through the region.
I'm at the BAM.
Yeah, Scotty's at the BAM, and he's going to take it from here. But yeah, there's a little bit of rotation. Likely debris signature is what caused and prompted that tornado warning. And now we're seeing that finally weakening, which is good. So the merging of the storms has happened, causing that spin. And Scotty, take it away.
Yeah, you can see right here. And Jimmy, if you pop back on the velocity here one more time, that's the wind. So the raindrops are being whipped around by the wind, and the radar can detect that. So as we zoom in here a little bit, and I got it, Jimmy, on the zoom, this area approaching Washington, there's some circulation there. There's some circulation still around Dundee. There's also apparently a little bit of circulation out there towards New Haven. But really right along and just south now of the Missouri River is where the focus is for this tornado warning. Again, these are quick spin-up tornadoes caused by boundaries from all of the thunderstorms we've been dealing with this morning across the area. And so as a consequence, you've got those brief spin-ups. Now, Jimmy, put it back into the debris mode. The debris mode.
Yeah, absolutely.
And let's backtrack up here just a little bit just a little bit. Go back a couple of scans here and then go forward again. We were looking in this area here, and I think that was one thing that we had right there. We had a little drop out there, and it's not showing debris at this moment, but we did have a little bit of a dropout showing, and that's an indication that debris has been lofted up, because what happens is the radar is looking for raindrops, and if it finds things that aren't shaped like raindrops, which would be debris, then potentially we have something on the ground. So that would have been the area near Holstein. Again, right along Highway 94 here out in southern portions of Warren County. That has shifted south. So now your threat area is really down here right along and just south of the Missouri River. And when you look at this from a radar perspective, it doesn't look overly impressive, right? But we do have a tremendous amount of heavy rain here with the boundaries spinning up, or with the boundaries colliding with these storms. You get those little areas that spin up. So if you're in this area, even down to Lyon and Washington, it doesn't include Union. It doesn't include Augusta. We're not into St. Charles County with this. And we think it's a pretty transient thing, meaning it's going to be over fairly quickly. These would have been fast hitting if they were been there. The whole complex, though, is not moving that fast. That's part of the problem that we're seeing across the rest of the area, because all of this heavy rainfall is causing flash flooding. So you have flash flood warnings now for St. Charles County, Warren County, Lincoln County, back up here into parts of Madison County, St. Clair County. Of course, we know in Nashville, Illinois, we had the situation with the dam that's been breached. And so we have a lot of flooding. Interstate 64 is closed, as we understand it, over here on the Illinois side. But again, right, the imminent danger at this moment from severe weather is isolated in this area right along and just south of the Missouri River. And Jimmy, pop on the velocity in there one more time, and we'll see what we have looking at this right now. The circulations seem to be weakening somewhat here.
And downstream, they have issued a severe thunderstorm warning till about 12:30. That's for, again, Jefferson County, Missouri, into southeast Franklin, southwestern St. Louis County. And so 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts, the biggest threat as it's moving southeast to 35 miles an hour. So they did not continue that tornado warning.
No, did they put a tornado possible tag on that?
Let's see. Yes, they did.
I think because, you still have boundaries in this area down to the south. you still have some boundaries in here. So any interaction with boundaries as these storms move in tends to enhance the storm's ability to create that dangerous twisting of the wind and that dangerous spinning motion that can create problems. So severe thunderstorm warning is downstream. This is on the leading edge of this big storm that's coming to the south right now. And the stronger winds in here right along the leading edge, that's going to be pushing along the Merrimack River, across the Merrimack River, into Jefferson County, into eastern portions of Franklin County, and into southwestern portions and far southern portions of St. Louis County. So this includes Fenton, it includes Eureka. Eureka, you're probably already getting some pretty intense winds right now. Same about Pacific. This will head down towards Cedar Hill, House Springs, High Ridge. Eventually it may try to get into Arnold. So we'll be monitoring this as we go through the next hour or so. The circulations that we were tracking, again, they seem to be not as prevalent as they were out here along this leading edge of the storms as they're working into northern portions of Franklin County. But this area off to the southeast right now of that, where we have another surge in the line of storms, that's the other area that we have to watch at this point. So once again, we want you to be in your safe place. This is that surge coming in and down with really torrential rain here across West St. Louis County. Wildwood right now, even into the Chesterfield Valley. That's pushing into Manchester, Baldwin, pushing into Fenton, pushing down into Valley Park. You're going to see that slide in through Jefferson County. This terrain down here becomes a little more hilly. So as we get that heavier rain into those hilly areas, again on top of rain that may have fallen already, we're going to be looking at the potential of additional flash flooding. So our tornado warning continues out here into portions of southern Warren County and into northern portions of Franklin County. And just kind of zooming in on that area once again, Jimmy, I think we're seeing this weaken a bit in this area, and it continues to move
tight
to the
rotation
south.
anymore.
Yeah,
which
we're
is
not seeing the
fantastic.
tight rotation. So really the focus now is shifting off to this area here. And let's pop the winds on there. And these storms are not moving tremendously fast. That's also another big problem that we're dealing with. But there's some strong winds right there. The strongest winds are being indicated for us south of Pacific here, Highway F. That's working its way through Jefferson and into Jefferson County. Some other strong winds here. As you go past Gray Summit down towards 44 and get down towards the Highway 100 exit where you would take to go to Washington, Missouri, some strong, intense winds there, probably about 55 to 60 miles per hour. So again, severe thunderstorm warning, that's until 12:30, Franklin, Jefferson, and parts of St. Louis County. This is mainly because of wind, but also in this area, we've got to be concerned about the potential that we would have some spin-ups at the leading edge of that line. So let's go back in. There you go, Jimmy. Pop that on.
It looks like they're moving southeast now at 35 miles an hour.
Oh, they picked up a little bit? Okay, good. Yeah, and a reminder, with the flooding that's ongoing, and you can see how this area is just congealing right around St. Louis at this point. We're not seeing as much in the way of circulations out here where the tornado warning was in effect. But now that this area is surging out and bowing out here into Franklin County, into northern Jefferson County, this is where we would expect the strongest winds to be moving into Jefferson County here as this storm drops to the southeast. Now, torrential rain is going to continue across the metro area as well. And so as a consequence, we'll have flash flooding that will continue to expand, we think, as we go through this afternoon, at least for the next 2 or 3 hours. After this whole blob of storms gets done with us, we may get a bit of a break for later today into tonight, and that may alleviate any severe weather risk that was potentially a little higher for later tonight. But there's your storms crossing over the Merrimack River right now, moving down towards Highway 30. They'll be at Highway 30. I mean, look at this. It's really almost kind of right along the same angle as Highway 30 here. So you're looking at that in about 10 to 15 minutes it will be the strongest winds right along Highway 30. We can't discount the possibility here of something spinning along this leading edge of the wind, of the storms. That's where we get that spin. Any interactions here can cause spin. Looks like there's something right in there. But again, these areas here are the areas that we are watching. Right now, you are watching 5 on Your Side.
5 on Your Side at noon. Focused on you.
As we have been reporting all morning long, we continue to follow major breaking news out of Nashville, Illinois. Multiple dam failures are forcing residents to evacuate as heavy rain causes flash flooding. Multiple water rescues are said to be underway and have been for the past 2 hours. Many roads out of the area are completely impassable, all due to extremely heavy rain in the region. In fact, I-64 is closed in both directions between mile markers 50 and 61 and exits 34 and 61. Turn around, do not drive into a flooded road. We are looking at video sent in from a viewer, Chris Jankowski. Thanks for being here. I'm Kay Quinn. Our Megan Kernan is in Nashville. We will go to her shortly, but we want to get right back to Chief Meteorologist Scott Connell in the Weather Impact Center. He's following those weather warnings, tornado warnings in Warren County. Scott?
Yeah, we have Warren County right now, and we did have the potential for what we think was a confirmed tornado, but Warren County no longer under the threat of severe weather at this point, although you are dealing with flooding and a flash flood warning there. The tornado warning now trimmed to that edge right there in northern portions of Franklin County. And now that this line is surging out, this is the line that came through St. Charles County with that torrential rain and the gusty winds. Now that that's surging out, moving into Jefferson County, we are seeing a severe thunderstorm warning here that will go until 12:30. And the potential right along the leading edge of this line of storms as it's surging out to create some brief spin-ups in that area. We look at the velocity mode here and the wind, and at this point, you know, that area north of Cedar Hill is an area we would be concerned with because we can see a little nub there. It looks like there's a potential nub, a potential area where we could start to see some rotation. So that's an area to watch for sure. But along this leading edge, if any boundary interacts with this storm and the gust of wind that's coming at it, it has the potential to spin. You're also going to be looking at torrential rainfall. Now, I know you're saying, well, it doesn't look as heavy as it was just a few minutes ago. That's because it is pouring at the radar site right now, and so we're getting some rain attenuation on the radar. In addition to this severe weather threat right now, we also have flooding that is a major concern, especially east of St. Louis, and that's where we've had 5 to 7 inches of rain that has fallen over into Washington County, Illinois, and so those areas east of St. Louis again, and we got a new tornado warning just as we were talking. Jimmy, let's zoom into this. This is a new tornado warning that is that little circulation we were talking about right there coming into Cedar Hill at this point. That is dropping southeast, so here is your spin. That spin is going to continue to move on towards the southeast right now as this moves in. So I want to get over here real fast to see if we can see any confirmation of any debris. We cannot. That's good. We get in here really tight. This circulation right now within the last few minutes was just to the north of Cedar Hill. Very close to Cedar Hill right now. So that's where you're spinning at this point. I'll be over at the BAM, guys. Cedar Hill is where that is spinning at this point, or just north of that, and that includes Dutch Creek Drive, and that's going to be approaching the local Hillsborough Road. It's going to be approaching State Highway BB. This circulation in here. So if you're in this area, anywhere in that area, you need to be in your safe place right now. Inside, away from windows and doors, lowest floor, you know, a bathroom, a closet, that's where you go. That's your safe spot. This circulation is going to drop to the southeast. Burnsville Road, if you're in Burnsville, in that area around Burnsville, we definitely want to be concerned about that as well as this moves off towards the southeast. Scottsdale. It's gone past Haney Springs, so that's good news. High Ridge, you don't have anything there's no circulation showing up there. This is the area where we're finding that circulation, just to the north of Cedar Hill, and that's moving to the southeast. So as we told you a few minutes ago, about 8 minutes ago, we told you it'd be about Highway 30 in 10 minutes, and it's almost there right now. So this is the place where you need to be concerned, north of Cedar Hill right now, and in that area up towards Scottsdale, sliding southeast. These are intense thunderstorms. They have been producing some gusty winds, 50 to 60 miles per hour, but in addition to that, we're also starting to see that dangerous twist. And we do see some dropouts here in our debris detector. Not as much as you might think. Now, there's also something up there towards High Ridge, but it doesn't look like there was rotation in that area. So it could be a radar artifact, all right? We have the tornado warning here for Jefferson County. What's that going to go to, Jimmy? About
12:45. And again,
12:45.
radar indicated only, which is good news. We don't have any confirmation by radar or by sight that there's a tornado on the ground.
Okay, so yeah, let's put a track on that. These are moving what, southeast at?
Actually, 50 miles an hour now.
Oh, this one's moving faster. Okay, so
Southeast
it's
at
picked
50,
up.
yeah.
All right, so and again, we're not overly concerned about what we saw back here to the north and west. We weren't seeing the same setup back in northern portions of Franklin County a few minutes ago that had the tornado warning. This is where the focus is now, in and around the Cedar Hill area. Really, Highway 30 between Cedar Hill and Scottsdale is where we're focusing on that right now, and that potential circulation right in here, and that community called Local. Again, moving towards the southeast, so moving towards central portions of Jefferson County at this point. Let me put Jimmy, I'm going to put a little track on here. Okay, well, you know what? You're going to have to wait for that because this is, grab this, Jimmy. You say it's moving at 50 now?
50, yeah. 50
All right,
miles
so
an
let's
hour.
just give this a broad push. And just for the next few minutes, if it's moving kind of in that southeast mode there, it's not giving me any counts. So let's move that back out a little bit and do another one. And we'll push this here. And we'll do that. That should give us something. It did not. Okay, well, Jimmy, let's go back. You get the radar back up. Kay, go to your 70 right now.
Scott, we have some extremely important information about interstates closed because of all this flooding. MoDOT is closing the inside lanes of east and westbound I-270 at North Florissant right now due to heavy flooding there. These closures will last through tomorrow morning. It just illustrates how much rain has fallen in such a short time and how it's all building up on the highways. Very dangerous to drive at this point. I-64 2 hours ago had the same situation from West County into downtown. Also, I-64 in Illinois closed in both directions between mile markers 50 and 61 and exits 34 and 61. We are getting pictures on social media that show you can't even see the highway in that area. That's how high the water is for a very long stretch. You're looking at a MoDOT camera right now. This is the I-270 closure we've been talking about. You can see the MoDOT trucks with the arrows forcing traffic away from the inside lanes in both directions. Again, this is North Florissant, I-270 east and westbound. And this will be the case until tomorrow morning, Scott.
Okay, that's not good news. All right, and let's show you this. Let's get back to this tornado warning here. We do have a debris signature starting to show up in this area, just pretty close to Cedar Hill. So again, we're tracking this storm. Go back, see if you can just backtrack it a hair a little bit and see if we see there we had a little bit and then it went away. So transient kind of thing, but once again, potential that debris is being lofted here. Jimmy, let's go to the velocity on this and we can pop that on. That circulation now looks like it's heading over here southeast of Cedar Hill, and it is moving towards Goldman. It's moving towards Highway 21, towards the community of Regina, Highway BB. If you're along the Hillsborough House Springs Road, your circulation is in your vicinity right now. The radar is going to be a couple of 3 minutes old by the time we get it and it processes and comes through. So it's probably already in this area right along Hillsborough House Spring Road at this time. So these are the situations we're facing right now with this tornado warning here in Jefferson County. Yes, the potential that we do have a debris signature confirmed by the tornado or confirmed by radar of a tornado. So southeast of Cedar Hill, up towards Scottsdale, in this area, rotation sliding towards Highway 21. Eventually, this will slide probably just north of Hillsborough. At least the current rotation will slide just north of Hillsborough. So observe tornado warning now for this area. You need to be in your safe place. That's going to be in the lowest floor. In your basement, if you've got it. You don't want to go to the basement. You're probably going to be safe in this particular scenario if you're in, a hall, closet, bathroom, center of your house, many windows, as many walls between you and the outside and away from windows as doors as you can get. This is the area, though, from Cedar Hill to Scottsdale that's pressing southeast. Eventually, this will get to Interstate 55. So your tornado threat really is whenever we see these little nubs and these little circulations that spin up. We're not seeing much on the debris detection at this particular moment, but a few moments ago we did see something, and so that's why the National Weather Service confirms this and puts this tornado warning as an observed tornado warning. There it is right there, just north of Cedar Hill. So you could see that's when we were seeing something, and that's the local Hillsborough Road. We were talking about that just a few minutes before it got there. This is moving southeast. So now, Jimmy, we'll go back to the reflectivity, and this is what we're looking at. And that surge is pushing out here. So that's got some winds with it, 50, 60 mile per hour winds. Embedded within that, the potential that you have circulations in here and the potential that any of those circulations can spin up and create a tornado in those areas. So if you're in Jefferson County, you want to basically get to your safe place at this point as we go through time. I'm going to back this out just a little bit, Jimmy, and we're going to pop on a better track that hopefully will get a few more places in the path of the area that we're concerned about here. So there's a couple of circulations we're worried about. Those circulations headed towards Goldman, Barnhart, Jarvis, Peevely, Herculaneum, eventually to Festus. We'll see if it makes it that far, how much it can hold together. This area's already had some rain down here, so that may actually weaken the storms a little bit and maybe lose a little bit of their punch. So the tornado warning and the path of multiple circulations here sliding southeast through Jefferson County right now. So we have our tornado warning. You're going to be in your safe place at this point, and we're going to monitor these storms as they continue to drop to the southeast. The other thing that we're monitoring, and the bigger thing that Kay was just talking about, we have major flooding across the area and major road closures that are ongoing right now, and there probably will be more with this heavy rainfall, Kay.
That's right, Scott. We have MoDOT closing the inside lanes of east and westbound I-270 at North Florissant due to flooding. They will not open until tomorrow morning. We have I-64 closed in both directions. That's between mile markers 50 and 61 and exits 34 and 61. And we are just getting this into the newsroom. Gateway Pet Guardians letting us know that St. Clair County Animal Services in Belleville is flooding. They are evacuating animals who they fear will soon be standing in water. They need volunteer fosters. This again is St. Clair County Animal Services in Belleville, and help is on the way to evacuate those animals. They are looking for anyone who might take one in for a short period of time. Roads are flooded around the entire area. Of course, Nashville, Illinois is the area we've really been following, where the dam has breached twice over in that area. We have reporters covering that story. We're going to have live team coverage as soon as Scott wraps up our weather situation, which has been ongoing for the past 25 minutes, Scott.
Yeah, and the tornado warning does continue here in Jefferson County. And, there's lots of circulations along here, all along this line. every time you see a bright red nudge coming out. Here's one. That's just northwest of Hillsborough. Here's another one southeast of Cedar Hill. Looks like there might be another one here east of Cedar Hill. All along here, wherever you see these little areas that are nudging out, that's the potential for circulation. Any one of those could produce a quick spin-up tornado at any moment, and that's why we have the tornado warning in effect for Jefferson County. This includes Hillsborough. It includes a good chunk of Highway 21 here. These circulations are almost on to Highway 21 at this point. You're not really going to get a good shot at seeing them because you have rain falling and you don't want to be outside trying to look for this. You want to be inside, away from windows and doors, on the lowest floor possible, and you want to put as many walls between you and the outside as possible. This is going to impact areas around Pevely, eventually getting to Festus, eventually getting to Hillsborough. Hillsborough, it's almost there now. That's one circulation there. There's a couple just north of Hillsborough. There's another one here. Let me zoom in a little bit here along Highway 21 and see where I can get some roads for you. In this area here, Belews Creek, Goldman is where the next impact may be. There's 21, there's Hillsborough Hot Springs Road. Those circulations already there. So they're crossing or about to cross Highway 21 right now and heading off towards the east. So just to kind of get in really tight here on some of the areas that we might be concerned about. This is Jarvis Road. All right, here's your old Highway 21, Monsignor Meyer Road, Goldman Road. These areas here just off to the northeast of Hillsborough are areas that we are really concerned about with the potential of seeing something spin here. So you need to be in your safe place in those areas. Now you notice the number of lightning strikes in this particular, where we're showing you on the screen here, is not particularly excessive. So you're not getting a huge number of lightning strikes with this, but you are seeing the rain spread across the area. You've been having rain. See where this line, see the darker reds here, or the brighter reds, where that's bowing out? That's where our stronger winds are. This is where these circulations are embedded along that line, right along Highway 21 and just to the east now, but still raining even farther east and southeast from there. So you're not going to see this. It's going to happen. It's rain. It's embedded in the rain. Be safe, stay inside, away from windows and doors. Now, we've gone back to not observed tornado warning, just the base tornado warning right now, because we're not seeing any debris signatures showing us that we could confirm a tornado. But there's still the rotation in here and still the potential that we can spin things up. And so that's what we're dealing with here as this line is advancing south. There's a notch, there's a notch, here's a notch. All of these areas all along Highway 21 and just to the east of Highway 21 in Jefferson County. This is where those circulations are. They're showing up on radar. Doesn't necessarily mean that we're looking at them actually touching down, but they're showing up on radar. And we did have that other one earlier that was confirmed. We'll see if we get any dropouts here, but we want you to be safe and be in your safe place. So that's going to be a hall closet, a bathroom closet, and as always, wear your shoes just in case there is some damage and you have to go out and deal with that. You don't want to be doing that in your socks or in bare feet. Now, across the rest of the area, outside of this threat with the tornadoes, we have heavy rain and tremendous amounts of rain falling. Just heard that Highway 70 is closed between 370 and TR Hughes. I'm not sure if it's east or westbound. That's a look at Nashville, Illinois you're seeing on the screen right now, and the flooding ongoing there with the breach of the dam. 5 to 7 inches or more of rain has fallen across Washington County, Illinois in the last 12 hours. In the metro area, 2 to 4 inches of rain is going to come very quickly here within the next hour. You've probably already had a couple of inches at this point. Again, that's Nashville, Illinois that you're looking at, the video that you're looking at there, as we continue to see the rain pushing in over those areas again off to the east of St. Louis. That is St. Clair County that you're looking at in the box. And St. Clair County still tremendous heavy rainfall falling right now in St. Clair County. The tornado warning, there's your surge out along the edge of this storm. That is moving through central portions of Jefferson County right now. and we've got embedded areas all along there where we have circulations. Any one of them could briefly spin up a tornado. These are not going to be long track tornadoes. They briefly spin up, they do their damage, and then they go on and lift. So we'll watch this area. It's accelerating a bit now, moving at about 50 miles per hour off to the southeast. We're not seeing as much in terms of the notches here, but you still have some strong winds around Hillsborough and potentially a circulation there, potentially a circulation here to the north of Hillsborough up near the Goldman area. These are areas we were just highlighting a few minutes ago. So moving those forward, that takes us into Harime, Mappaville, Jarvis in that area, Hematite. Eventually, these are going to get to Festus. But these areas, this is the wind showing up here, moving to the east, and that's what we're tracking right now. So, Jimmy, I don't know what the Weather Service has going on here.
So the good news about, the tornado warning in Franklin County and Warren County, so emergency management says no damage reported at this time, although we did see the debris signature for a brief moment around the New Haven area, but so far no reports of damage in that area at this point.
Okay, and that's good news. That's very good news. The overall trend may be for this to be weakening a little bit, but we still have that tremendous heavy rainfall falling out of these, and flash flooding is going to be another concern. 12:45 is the expiration time on this tornado warning in Jefferson County. We'll monitor how it's moving along here as this is pressing south and southeast. It is now 12:19 coming up on 12:20, and you could see that line where it's arcing out and bowing out, embedded within the rain. So this area will be pushing into Monroe County in Illinois here shortly as well. And you see the surge of wind, just kind of that mother lode of wind just dropping down from the northwest out of northern portions of Jefferson County and Franklin County and into Jefferson County here. Circulations, yes, that potential is certainly there, especially as we get into this area now that's just off to the east of Hillsborough. So that's taking us down eventually towards Festus, maybe into Peevely. We'll see if we're able to spin anything up in these areas here. But again, more of this to come for the next hour or so as we track these storms. So the whole thing continues to slide to the southeast, and you're really getting the jet stream, the stronger winds from the jet stream kind of feeding into this and pushing this out. And you can see that when we look back up here in this area from Wildwood to the north. You see the rainfall lets up in intensity. That's kind of where your jet's pushing this down right now, and at least a version of a jet, maybe the rear inflow jet in this particular situation. So the tornado warning is continuing. There are circulations embedded along here. We're going to pause that and pull it all the way over. Okay, you've got some more information for us when we watch this storm. The tornado, potential tornadoes right on the leading edge of that now, and they will be approaching Peevely, Olympian Village, and DeSoto within the next 5 to 10 minutes.
Scott, the flooded roads cannot be underestimated at this point. They are everywhere in several counties, including several interstates. Right now, we know I-64, we've been telling you, closed in both directions from mile markers 50 to 61. Let's extend that now. Oakville to Richview is also now closed. That's basically, Oakville is at mile marker 41. So we're talking about many miles of interstate here, 41 to 61 in both directions on I-64 in Illinois. We know MoDOT has closed the east and westbound inside lanes on I-270 at Florissant due to flooding, closed until tomorrow morning. Northbound off-ramp from 61 to 47, this is now in Lincoln County, that is closed due to flooding. Highway 47 at Hammett Road was closed due to flooding, and there was a water rescue being staged there, at least three water rescues in the Winfield and Foley area right now. And we know St. Clair County Animal Services in Belleville is in the process of evacuating the animals because the water is coming up so quickly. You might recall back in July of 2022, the same situation played out. Heavy rain, water came up, the animals were up to their chest in water. They're trying now to avoid that situation. The water's coming up quickly. The animals will soon be in water, so they're evacuating that. They need fosters if you want to help out. Also, we've been talking about water rescues. They have been playing out all over the area. This morning, we've been following very closely the dam breach in Nashville, Illinois. We have team coverage coming up for you once our tornado warnings pass, but we have team coverage of evacuations of the entire cone, what they're calling it, cone of failure. It's the stream where the water will be rushing over the dam. They're evacuating several hundred people. There is a Red Cross shelter, and we know, as I mentioned, of 2 breaches. So we're going to bring you much more on that in just a few minutes, Scott.
And, we're going to continue to see heavy rainfall across the area as well. The good news is we are starting to see this storm weaken a little bit, but we still have some circulations in here as we have the tornado warning continuing here in Jefferson County. But it is weakening a little bit. Still heavy rainfall here. Heavy rainfall up 55 through Arnold. Heavy rainfall going across the Jabry Bridge. Heavy rainfall from Columbia approaching Maystown, approaching Waterloo. You're going to get more heavy rain here. Unfortunately, you continue to see heavy rain across a good chunk of St. Clair County right now. And, when we broaden out the view even a little more, there's additional development that's occurring back here along and north of the Missouri River through Gasconade County, through Warren County, Montgomery County. That's sliding to the east-southeast. So even though we have this initial wave of rain that's heavy and has prompted flash flood warnings, we have more rain to come behind that, in addition to this severe weather threat that we're tracking right now as we look down into Jefferson County, and the potential that in these areas here, as this band is surging out, we have some rotating cells along that, or nubs, if you will, at the very leading edge. That's where we're finding at this point a little bit of circulation potential for these storms. Now, just looking at this, we're not seeing what we were seeing earlier, but I would say there's still the potential here between Peevely and Festus just off to the west. Looks like there might be a little bit of a circulation there, but that's the only one that's really standing out at this point in terms of the intense potential for something to rotate. But the tornado warning does continue. Still need to be in your safe place, especially if you are east and southeast of Hillsborough and along Interstate 55, south of Peevely, really south of Arnold, and going down towards the St. Genevieve and St. Francis County lines. That does include Highway 67 here. Don't see anything that's imminent looking at this radar and looking at the wind, but the potential is certainly there with that circulation, possibly, some sort of spin there in this area right around Peevely towards Festus. That's an area to watch right now.
All right, and Scotty, just an update on the flash flooding that continues. So a flash flood warning now for not only Calhoun, Greene, Jersey, Madison County in Illinois, Lincoln, St. Charles, Warren County, and even into the city. But they have put a considerable flash flood threat on this because we've had over 5 to 7 inches of rain in some areas. So again, this rain keeps coming down. Between 1 to 4 inches of rain has fallen only in just a couple of hours here, and more is on the way.
Yeah, and we're going to have to deal with that too. Flooding is a very big concern. And Kay, I know we continue to monitor the road closings around St. Louis as well. Want people to be safe here in Jefferson County, especially between Peevely and Festus along 55. There may be something trying to spin there. Tornado warning in effect, but the flash flooding is becoming such a big concern now.
This is a major problem at this point, Scott, including now here in the immediate St. Louis City and County area. We now know that Laclede Station Road, that low spot that basically runs between Manchester and 44, that is now flooded. Multiple cars are floating and underwater. We have a crew on the way to the scene. That is just one tiny snapshot of what's going on because we have interstates closed. East and westbound I-270 at North Florissant. I-64 closed now in both directions for 20 miles in Illinois from mile marker 41 to mile marker 61. In Lincoln County, We know 47 at Hammett Road, there was a water rescue, roads underwater. We know northbound off-ramp from 61 to 47 has been closed. We have multiple reports of flooded waters, multiple reports of water rescues, and also the animal shelter in St. Clair County evacuating animals due to the high water. So this is a situation where you never want to drive into a flooded road. Turn around, do not drive into it. The best thing at this point is to just stay where you are. If you're in a safe place, stay where you are, Scott, because 2 hours ago on I-64 from the county to the city, the roads were covered with
Right.
water, and now it's even worse.
Yeah, and it's not going to get better for a little bit, a while here, because we still have more rain coming in from the west, and we're getting additional road closures and ramp closures along Interstate 70, reports of that out in St. Charles County right now. Our biggest concern outside of flooding, which is a large concern for everybody right now, but the imminent area to watch is this area down here in Jefferson County. You are starting to see this storm kind of lose some of its definition. You've had this boundary, if you will, this big nudge, this big surge of rain pushing out, interacting with other boundaries and creating spin. There is a potential we could have something trying to spin as storms try to merge down here towards DeSoto, it looks like. But we're not seeing this as intense as it was. It's still producing copious amounts of rain, and it's still going to cause some flooding in these areas as well, especially since as we go south and southwest of St. Louis, we have much more hilly terrain, and you tend to get more of a flashy situation with the flooding. It's faster to create flash flooding, but a lot of the creeks being overwhelmed by these rainfall rates across the area right now. Looks like the National Weather Service just let that warning expire for the tornado warning, went ahead and canceled that. So the immediate tornado threat seems to have eased. We'll still watch this area off to the south and southeast of St. Louis and right ahead of that line, and that does include here into parts of southern St. Clair County and into Monroe County, and then going down towards Randolph, St. Genevieve, and St. Francis County to see if anything starts spinning up. One thing you can notice, Kay, when you look at this radar, you almost see a whole area just kind of spinning across the region. We get into this time of year, and what we look at is what we call, mesoscale convective vorticity. It's basically these thunderstorm complexes create their own disturbance, and that's what we have rolling across the area right now. That also tends to create some extra spin in the atmosphere, but that's enhancing our rainfall rates here. I want to let the producers know that we're going to go over one quick summary here, and then we will let you restart so you can do the dam coverage and we can get everybody updated on this breaking situation that's been ongoing this morning in Nashville, Illinois. Flash flood warnings cover much of the area. Presently, at this very moment, it is 12:31. There are no severe thunderstorm warnings. There are no tornado warnings. That threat has at least eased for the moment, but we're still watching these strong thunderstorms off to the southeast of St. Louis right now and just to the east of St. Louis, in addition to the ones that are still producing copious amounts of rain around the metro area. Do not drive into the roads if they have water on them. That water, you don't know how deep it is, and you don't know how fast it might be moving, or if the road's even under that asphalt or that concrete. It could be washed out. A lot of roads flooded, and there are problems across the area right now. We're continuing our coverage. Kay Quinn will get us up to speed on what's going on now with other news for today.
And Scott, we have many roads closed, as you've been mentioning and as we've been telling you all afternoon long. In St. Charles County, flash flooding and closed roads on Highway 70 eastbound ramps in O'Fallon, Jungerman, and at Country Creek and Salt Lick at Timberbrook, all underwater. You'll want to avoid that area. Also in St. Charles County, Cottleville, Ohms Road at Mid-Rivers Mall Drive, that is closed due to flooding. You're asked to use an alternate route. We know that in St. Clair County, State Route 158 between Roachtown and Red Baron, Red Barn, rather, that is just one of the new closures. There are many roads underwater in St. Clair County. We know that there's a problem in Belleville where the St. Clair County Animal Services is located. In West Central County, a water rescue is underway. We have a vehicle in the water with standing water on Forest Park Parkway, just southbound from Interstate 170. So that's right in the Ladue area. Traffic, as you know, in that area is it's a heavily troubled area. There's a lot of traffic. You will definitely want to avoid that. Southbound I-170 at Forest Park Parkway, a water rescue underway. We have been following multiple road closures in interstates as well. MoDOT closing the inside lanes of east and westbound I-270 at North Florissant. I-64 closed in both directions for 20 miles now in Illinois, basically mile markers 41 to 61. We've been getting pictures from these areas. We're going to show them to you in just a moment. The highway underwater, basically there. It is not safe to travel on roads right now. If you go out, if you see water covering a road, turn around. Do not drive down that road. All right, let's take a look now at road conditions in Troy, Missouri, in Lincoln County. We've been following that highway. All right, Moore School Road and Main Street has been the problem there. All right, let's go to Megan Kernan. She is live in Nashville, Illinois, where a major emergency has been playing out, unfolding about an hour southeast of St. Louis. This is just south of I-64 in Washington County, Illinois. We know, Megan, that the National Weather Service has confirmed the primary Nashville dam has not failed. It's the secondary, it's overtopping, and the secondary dam is releasing the water. Illinois Emergency Management on the scene. Tell us what you can, Megan.
Well, Kay, as you just mentioned, that secondary dam is right behind us, actually. The Nashville City Reservoir is topping over. It's flooding over and into these roads, into people's homes, into the streets here. And it took us well over 2 hours to get here to Nashville, a ride that normally takes about 2 hours from downtown St. Louis. Now, if you're heading here, just know that Highway 64 is closed past Nashville. We've seen several people on State Route 15 trying to make their way through, but they are blocked off. Emergency crews are asking them to turn around. They have actually moved the signs over and farther down the road on here on Reservoir Road just to push them back because they are trying to make the way over. Water is over the roads. I mean, in front of this one home over here, it is completely flooded. Water is everywhere, and it happens to be thanks to this secondary dam here. So people in parts of Nashville were told to evacuate their homes by emergency personnel due to a dam failing in the area. We've been getting a lot of videos from people all over the Nashville area. Take a look at this video we got from a viewer earlier. Larry Lamchek sent us this video from his home in Nashville. Now, this is on Ruth Ann Drive near the intersection of Highway 15 and County Highway 17. That is southeast of the dam. Now, you can see his entire backyard is just flooded out. Now, on our way out here, we saw water coming up on both sides of Highway 64, and it was flowing everywhere. We saw farm fields that looked like lakes. Over here, we're seeing houses and yards that completely just look like lakes right now. So if you are and if you do see water on the roads, please turn around and be as safe as you can if you are in the Nashville area. For now, reporting live in Nashville, Megan Kernan, 5 on your side.
All right, thank you so much, Megan. We're also getting reports of water rescues in St. Clair County, as we've been mentioning. 5 on your side's Diamond Palmer is live in Mascoutah near State Routes 4 and 161 with new details about people who were saved from the floodwaters. Diamond?
Okay, just moments before we came on air, we actually got some confirmed information from the Mascoutah Police Department. We were at Route 161 and Route 4. As you can see, I'm going to have my cameraman kind of zoom into that car. That is where a lady was actually rescued from her car. The police department tells me that it took nearly 30 minutes to get her out of that car. She was actually on the phone with 911 when they rescued her. And then on the other side of Route 161, that's where another water rescue happened near Scott Air Force Base. Now, in that case, that woman had water almost over top of her car. So you can only imagine what these two women were feeling during all of this severe weather. Of course, the rain is really not stopping. It's starting to pick up here in St. Clair County. I also want to talk about what their EMA is saying. We've had several reports from their Facebook talk about other water rescues, one on Keck and Route 158. And as my cameraman kind of comes back over here, you can see the water is not just on the roads, it's also here on this farmland. And then as we take a look over here, several cars are still traveling on Route 4, and this is where there has been some sort of issues, at least in our case when we were coming here to Route 4. It was standing water. Now the police department says right now there is not any orders to evacuate residents here in Mascoutah. However, there are several roads closed. 161 is closed on both ends, and then Route 177 going westbound towards Belleville also closed. They say if they have to, they will close Route 4. Of course, we're going to continue to keep you updated on all this information. And again, right now, if you are a resident in Mascoutah, you are not told to evacuate, but please be safe if you are traveling. Of course, through standing water, you never know how exactly high that water can be and how dangerous it can be. Live in St. Clair County, Diamond Palmer, 5 on your side.
All right, thank you so much, Diamond. Please stay safe. We are continuing to get just dozens of pictures and videos from so many viewers in the Nashville area. Remember, if you want to take pictures or video of an emergency, please keep your safety in mind. Our Mercedes McKay joins us in studio now to show us exactly what they're experiencing. Mercedes?
Okay, the videos and pictures like this one behind me from Britland Schnicker are just unbelievable. So let's go through some of them right now. About 30 minutes ago, we got this video on your screen and from Nashville. That's right off Highway 15. This is from Jonah Kemp. This is a mechanic shop called Zaps, and it looks like they're actually carrying crates from the car. This video is from Andrew Blease showing the flooding on 64 just past Nashville. That was earlier this morning around 10. You can see the flooding into the ditch, onto the roads, and traffic slowly moving along. Here's another look at Interstate 64. This is by the Nashville exit. Christy Jackson sent this in to us. She actually had to drive through that. Here's a picture Jasmine Karen Brooke Schultz sent us. This is flooding at Nashville Park. And then here's this picture from Yvonne Ruby Overton. You can see the road flooded and it looks like a car flipped on its side. And take a look at your screen here. You're gonna have to look real closely. These are pictures from Josh O'Brien. This is on Highway 15, which is just 2.5 miles east of Nashville, Illinois. The water is so high, Kay, you can see how it goes right below the taillights of that one car. Now, like Kay mentioned, we appreciate all of your videos and pictures, but please keep sending them our way, but stay safe, of course. All you have to do is text your pictures and videos to 314-425-5355.
All right, thank you so much, Mercedes. We've been reporting all morning long about the hundreds of people who've been evacuated in Nashville, Illinois. This was one of the first major emergencies that began this morning after all the heavy rain. 5 on your side's Robert Townsend is making his way to that area. Traffic and road closures are causing major delays. He joins us live a couple of miles outside of Nashville. Robert?
Hey there, Katie. Let me tell you, for the past hour now, we've been stuck out here in this rainy mess, stuck on eastbound 64, just trying to make it into Nashville. Look at this traffic mess. It's a huge traffic jam. Rain is pouring. It just picked up in the last 3 minutes or so. I can tell you these cars and semi-tractor trailers are just now barely moving down this interstate. For 30 minutes or so, they were at a complete standstill. Drivers shut off their cars. It was a complete mess out here. Officials are telling us all morning long, and even as we go into this afternoon hour, drivers have run into all kinds of issues following the dam failures and high water levels and flash flooding out here in this area. Roads, ramps, and interstates are all either flooded or have major backups. Now, my colleague Doug Howell was able to get into the Nashville community this morning. Here's his video. Doug tells us he saw a major road closure along State Road 127 near a popular dollar store General. Obviously, officials are asking people to avoid that area due to safety and road concerns. Again, they also opened a temporary shelter out here in the Nashville area for any of those families affected by the dam failures. But right now we're told nobody is actually at that shelter. We're trying to make our way to that shelter and talk to the people affected by the flash flooding and all of these water woes. But again, as I step back into the picture, you can see it's completely empty right here. These trucks, they're starting to inch on by. It's a big mess out here, let me tell you, at this high noon area. We're on top of this story in the Washington County, Illinois area. For now, though, I'm Robert Townsend, 5 on your side. Kay?
All right, thanks so much, Robert. Now, within the past hour, we spoke with someone who lives in Nashville, Illinois, just a couple of houses away from the evacuation zone. This is what Justin Hari woke up to this morning. Justine Hari, flooding outside her home. She says the water was coming closer and closer for hours. But in the past hour, she says, thankfully, the floodwaters have started to recede. Alone at home with young children, Justina says she's following emergency management closely.
It was a shock. I woke up to my husband calling me and both of my sisters. They were just worried. And you know how that is. You wake up and you're like, what's going on? I woke up at 6 when it was storming and you didn't realize how fast that happened. So I'm here alone with my 2 girls, just trying to figure out what we need to do.
We will continue to tell you the story from Nashville, Illinois, all throughout the afternoon. It is an emergency we are following very closely. But right now we want to share that in St. Louis County, that's where the new water alerts are coming in and the roads are closed. State Patrol broadcasting that Highway 141 and I-44 has water on the roadway. That's on 141. That is a place that floods very quickly, as we know, in many heavy rain situations, which is what we have right now. Also, there's a vehicle in standing water on Forest Park Parkway at southbound I-170 and also Laclede Station Road. The low spot there, it's basically between Manchester Road and I-44. That has been completely flooded, cars floating in the area. The heavy rain is the big story at this moment right now, Scott. Tell us, how much have we been getting?
Well, the amounts 5 to 7 inches pretty quickly in many cases. We've seen some of those higher amounts right here in the Metro East and over into Nashville, Illinois, and of course the dam breach as a result of that. And in the metro area, the National Weather Service, you may have had your phone go off with the alert tones because the National Weather Service upgraded that to a considerable flash flood warning for a good chunk of the area because we have so many road problems right now. The rain has come fast and furious. What we are seeing at this point is that the area of rain overall is showing signs of, at least from a severe weather standpoint, weakening a little bit. But we still have pockets where there's moderate rain back to the west, and it's not leaving us yet. The front is still to the north of us. So the only good news that we have for you really right now, there's 2 pieces of good news. One, the overall severe weather threat seems to have diminished, and that seems to be limited for the remainder of the afternoon. And 2, because of this mess, we don't have the heat advisories any longer down to the south. We do not have them any longer. They have been canceled. This squashed the heat and pushed it out of here altogether. But I want to take just for a second to show you how extensive this is. If we take the radar off and just show you where the warnings are, look how much of our area, Monroe County, Randolph County, you've got St. Clair County, parts of Madison County, right up here from Alton up to Grafton. We've seen some flash flooding around the Grafton area, all the way through Calhoun, back up to Pike, then Lincoln, Warren, down into Franklin County, and then a small part of Washington County and over into St. Genevieve and St. Francis County. And again, Marion and Jefferson counties in Illinois to go along with Clinton and Washington counties. This is a widespread flash flooding scenario that is playing out around the St. Louis area at this point. Now, the strongest storms and the heaviest rain right now is over Monroe County and into St. Clair County. So it's raining pretty hard now in Smithton, back to New Athens, and then down towards Valmeyer as well as Waterloo. We still have pockets of heavy rain. Okay, you mentioned 141, which we know notoriously has problems underneath 44. That rain is still coming down there, but it seems like it has let up just a little bit in that area. As we time this out for you, though, you can see there is additional rain coming in from the west. It looks like it won't be as heavy as what we have seen. So we've seen rainfall rates that have been astounding here. In many cases, some of us have seen rainfall rates that have topped out over 4 or 5 inches an hour at that rate. And then when you add that up over the last 12 hours, everywhere you're seeing red here, these are the rainfall estimates. And that includes up around Grafton. That includes out here around Innsbruck. It includes from downtown St. Louis, east of the Poplar Street Bridge, almost all of St. Clair County in red, almost all of Washington County. This is your 5 to 7 inch rainfall tallies that have been a result of this morning's thunderstorms across the area. That's why these flash flood warnings are in effect. That's why we have so many road problems right now with water on the roads. If you can stay put, you need to stay put this afternoon. This is not an afternoon to go out and sightsee or run errands. Stay safe, stay put. Road closures are going to be a problem into this evening, especially since we continue to mitigate these storms as they are rolling through the area. So that's our biggest concern, Kay, I think going forward, is all of this water as we head through the remainder of the evening hours and we continue to track these thunderstorms across the region. So, I can tell you another inch or two seems probable for many areas. And we do have numerous road closures around St. Louis, including on the interstates at this point, because of this water that has fallen from the sky fast and furiously throughout the morning hours. Flash flood warnings for the entire metro area. Your heaviest rain, again, over into St. Clair County and Monroe County. The good news there is that the severe weather threat seems to have alleviated, has been mitigated right now, and we're just looking at a heavy rain threat. But that heavy rain is already falling over areas that have seen upwards of 5 to 6 inches of rainfall. So it's not going to get any better here as far as the flooding goes off to the southeast of St. Louis. What we are seeing back to the west along the Missouri River, that water, that rainfall is not as intense right now. But again, numerous road closures around the area. We can't emphasize enough to stay put if you can, to not drive through flooded roads. We have most of our flash flooding deaths, most flood deaths actually occur by people in cars. And we know we've had numerous water rescues going on across the area today where people have driven into those flooded roads and then their cars become stuck. That becomes a stressor on the emergency personnel too. Our first responders having to get out into this, risking their lives and then taking away from other resources that they may need for, say, a house fire or something along those lines. So we continue to monitor the rainfall across the area. At this point, I can tell you we're going to be tracking heavy rain for much of the rest of the afternoon as we go forward, especially in this area down to the south of St. Louis and off to the east of St. Louis. That's where the heaviest rainfall is right now. That's where our flash flood warnings are in effect. And Kay, I know we're going to get additional road closures and notifications from MoDOT and IDOT as to what's going on this afternoon, in addition to the dam breach in Nashville, Illinois, and in Washington County, which last week just had the Washington County Fair. Right. So a lot going on this afternoon weather-wise around the St. Louis area.
And traffic-wise as well, as you've been saying, Scott, so many flooded roads. Let's take a look right now at road conditions in Troy, Missouri. This is in Lincoln County. This is along South Moore School Road and Main Street in that area. You can see running water on the road there. And we're now getting video in from Oakville, Illinois. The interstate, I-64, has been flooded here. This is Plum Creek overflowing and taking out parts of the park there. You can see just how high that water is to the actual road as well. This is a situation, similar situations playing out all over the St. Louis region right now, all over our viewing area. Warren County Emergency Management saying several roadways in the southern part of Warren County reported to be under a foot or more of water. Some estimates are 2 to 3 feet. One water rescue is in progress in Eureka. Police say there are multiple road closures, and we also know that Highway 141 at Interstate 44, that is a flooded area right now, as it does so often during heavy rains. Let's get back to our Robert Townsend. He is live out near Nashville, Illinois, where a dam breach has forced an evacuation and has also left many roads impassable. Robert?
Hey, Kay, right now it's still a big rainy mess out here, and these drivers are still stuck on eastbound 64. All of us just trying to get into the Nashville, Illinois community. Again, as the rain is just coming down nonstop, it's just a big traffic mess out here all morning long, all afternoon. Officials are telling us drivers headed into the Washington County, Illinois area have run into all kinds of problems due to the dam situation, the high flooding, the high water. All of that's causing major traffic jams and messes out here in this area. Again, the good news is that it kind of stops raining at times, but again, the officials are telling us this road is going to be like this at least for quite some time. So that is the situation that people are dealing with as all of this is still happening at this 12:30, 1 o'clock hour. Again, just a big traffic mess out here, all related to the dam situation that's going on in Washington County, for what we understand. Again, a shelter has been opened for those evacuees. We're trying to inch our way, make our way to that shelter to see how many families are actually turning up for that. We're on top of this for now, though. Live in Washington County, Illinois, I'm Robert Townsend. Back to you.
All right, thank you so much, Robert. We're going to now take you to St. Clair County, where there have been multiple high water emergencies. State Road 158 between Roachtown and Red Barn has been closed. Let's go to our Annie Krall. She is live in the county, multiple rescues, and also the St. Clair County Animal Shelter taking on a lot of water. They're evacuating pets from there. Annie?
Okay, that's exactly right. We are trying to walk through a couple of different situations right now. As you can see, the rain has lightened up just a little bit, but the damage is just completely left over at this point. I want to talk to you about the driving situation right now. We're going to show you the road. Take a live look at what's happening right here. This is on Frank Scott Parkway, and we are going to do something that's incredible. You see so many drivers just going all the way through that Frank Scott Road. It's unfortunate that it's, of course, during the lunch hour. It's, of course, on a Tuesday morning. No one was expecting this. I've been talking to local business owners. I've been talking to folks who are driving through this, asking them why are they out here. And this, as you can see, is the Frank Scott Parkway, and it is just completely flooded. People trying to go super slowly to not have the water spray up, but of course, if someone drives by, it just goes completely up and over. This car that's orange just completely walking all the way through, rolling its way over. We're going to talk about a little bit more actually later this evening that we spoke with the driver just earlier today who had that water come into his truck, and now he's had to take it to an auto body shop because of the damage that happened earlier today. That was around 10 a.m. this morning in the Shiloh area. He actually was out in Belleville, but right now in Shiloh, it's still such a major problem on these roads. In fact, when we were seeing a little bit earlier, this might be a sewer that's gotten completely backed up. I'm going to let you see a little bit closer. It looks like a fountain, but we're in the middle of a parking lot right now. It should be completely receding, and it's just not, just completely bubbling up and down this road. And again, as we said earlier, we're at Frank Scott Parkway right now, very close to North Greenmount Road as well in the Shiloh County. We're still talking to drivers, asking them why they want to be out here in this kind of crazy weather, but they said they have to get to work. They're trying to pick up lunch. The parking lot a little bit farther away from us is just standing water right now. It's an unfortunate situation. All of this tries to recede. It's not going away anytime soon as of right now. We will keep you updated, of course, about the driving conditions, what we're seeing out here, and of course the lasting damage from all of this water. Reporting live in Shiloh, Annie Krall, 5 on your side.
All right, thank you so much, Annie. Let's quickly remind you of the interstate closures due to flooding. I-64 closed in both directions, basically from mile marker 41 to 61. That's 20 miles of interstate in Illinois closed right now. Also, eastbound and westbound I-270 at North Florissant Road. The inside lanes in both directions closed until tomorrow morning due to high water. If you're traveling through that area, MoDOT has some trucks with arrows urging you to go toward the side, to the right side of the road, but traffic will be very slow moving there. It's best to avoid it if you can. All right, let's get back to Nashville, Illinois and Washington County, a population of about 3,000 there. And the National Weather Service confirmed for us the primary dam this morning did not fail. Instead, the water was overtopping the dam there. And we know it was the second dam that failed, and that's what triggered the massive evacuation in Nashville, Illinois this morning. So Illinois Emergency Management on the scene. We're told 911 calls in the area have been rerouted to Randolph County. 5 on your sides, Megan Kernan has been live there all morning. Megan, what can you tell us now?
Well, Kay, we left downtown St. Louis about 9:30 this morning and didn't get to Nashville until a little bit before 12. So clearly traffic is completely backed up. And right now we're standing in front of that secondary dam that Kay just mentioned, the Nashville City Reservoir. It is completely topping over, flowing into these yards, flowing everywhere into these homes. There's some cars that are completely, the tires almost all the way underwater over here. And we're on State Route 15 and Reservoir Road, and Route 15 is closed. We've seen several cars in front of us try and make their way here until emergency crews are asking them to turn around. It's just a good reminder, if you do see water on these roads, do not cross over. And this secondary dam is the reason why these homes have been evacuated here in Nashville. Several people had to evacuate here in Nashville due to emergency personnel because of that secondary dam failing. Now, we've been getting a lot of videos from people all over the Nashville area. Take a look at this video we got from a viewer earlier. Larry Lamchek sent us this video from his home in Nashville. It's on Ruth Ann Drive near the intersection of Highway 15 and County Highway 17. Now, that's southeast of the dam. You can see his entire backyard is just flooded out. Now, on our way out here, we saw water coming up on both sides of Highway 64, and it was flowing everywhere. We saw farm fields that looked like lakes. We're seeing houses and yards that look completely flooded like lakes. One house in front of us, their front yard completely flooded out. And it's just a good reminder to pay attention if you are in this Nashville area. Do not cross over these roads. Make sure you're paying attention to those signs and those emergency crews who are out here trying to keep people safe. For now, live in Nashville, Megan Kernan, 5 on your side.
All right, thank you so much, Megan. Now let's go back to St. Clair County, Illinois. A local animal shelter sending us these pictures of the flooding we've been reporting to you all afternoon. St. Clair County Animal Services evacuating the animals to Gateway Pet Guardians because the water is coming up so fast. You might remember 2 years ago in 2022, it was July 2022, heavy rain again flooded that shelter. The animals were in water up to their chests. It was a major emergency for them, and the same thing is playing out right now. They are looking for fosters if you're able to do that. The Jefferson County Sheriff's Office has listed a long list of roads that are closed in that area. This is Jefferson County, Missouri. We're going to switch focus right now. East Carpenter and North Krupp Lane, half of the roadway washed away there. Highway 15 and Drivers Lane, Highway 148 and Spruce, Du Bois Blacktop near Riddle. Most of Highway 15 has water on the roadway. We also know Highway 37 south of Loop Road is underwater. North Passport Lane at East Heisman. The 700 block of East Dix at Irvington, that is having a water problem. The list goes on. That's just in Jefferson County. The same scenario is playing out in counties St. Louis County, St. Charles County, Lincoln County, Franklin County, and of course many counties in the Metro East. Let's get to meteorologist Scott Connell in the Weather Impact Center and talk about this heavy, unrelenting rain, Scott.
Yeah, we are starting to see signs that it's beginning to let up a little bit, but still for areas south and southeast of St. Louis, we still have heavy rainfall coming down right now. There's a look at Interstate 64 here over in O'Fallon, Illinois. Traffic's still moving here, but those folks that are traveling eastbound, they're going to find out here in a little bit that they have no place to go. The road will be closed. So here's what we're looking at over the last 12 hours. How has this mess evolved? Well, it started out with showers and thunderstorms well to our north, and they eventually sagged down into the St. Louis area early this morning, and we kept seeing development throughout the area. The cold front itself is still up to the north, so this is instigated by outflow and by the thunderstorms themselves, and that heavy rain focused initially east and south of St. Louis, and then we really saw this area slide in during the last couple of hours around St. Louis proper. Now, any threat for severe weather seems to have diminished, but we still have some heavy rainfall right now around New Athens, also down across southern portions of Monroe County. That's down near Fultz and Redbud. But this rain, not severe. You may have some 40 to 50 mile per hour wind gusts in there, but it's below severe levels, but it's still rain on top of water that we've already had across the area. As we look back here into Jefferson County, still looking at moderate rain. You're still looking at moderate rain down 44. Of course, Kay mentioned earlier, 141 underneath 44, a traditional spot that floods often when we have heavy rainfall. Sure did that. We've had some more reports out around Eureka of water problems as well. West St. Louis County, for the most part, we're starting to see some improvement. The rain has lessened in intensity. Also starting to see that same scenario playing out here in St. Charles County, eastern Lincoln County, and up towards the Grafton area. It's beginning to let up a little bit. What we're seeing back here to the west right now, trying to push in towards Troy, trying to come in towards Warrenton, that's light to moderate rain. It won't be as fast and as furious as what we saw earlier. But again, it's more rain on top of water that we've already had, and we really don't need that. How much rainfall have we seen? This is a huge amount. Depends on where you are, where your neighborhood is, but we have spots that are easily in that 5 to 7 inch rainfall, and it's really centered on the I-64 corridor going out of downtown St. Louis over to Mount Vernon. Now keep in mind, once you get to 64 here, in Jefferson County, Illinois, you also go down to one lane in each direction, not to mention the fact that the road's actually closed here because of that dam breach in Washington County. But you have a lot of issues here with water. Almost all of St. Clair County has had 5 inches or so of rainfall, give or take a little bit. Estimates are that there may be 6 to 7 inches in there. Parts of Jefferson County, Monroe County in there as well, along the Mississippi River going north of St. Louis. How is this going to impact our river levels? Well, you know they had heavy rain last night to the north of us, so we would expect to see those river levels jump from that heavy rain a little bit to the north of us. Don't know that we'll make it back to the levels we were at last week, but we're going to monitor that situation. Most of what we're seeing right now with this rainfall is affecting the smaller creeks, the streams, the smaller rivers that feed into the Mississippi, that feed into the Missouri River. But the Kaskaskia has been exceedingly high anyway and in flood. So one would think with this kind of rainfall, that just exacerbates the problem. And of course, over the farm fields, you got to feel for our farmers, dependent so much on the weather. You know, you look over here into St. Clair County. How many cornfields do we have in St. Clair County, Washington, Clinton counties? That corn high and tall right now, but now potentially underwater and ruining a crop. And so it's a significant situation here. In this whole area east of St. Louis, along 64, upwards of 5 to 7 inches of rainfall, and that has led to the flash flooding. That's just in the last 12 hours, Kay. So these rainfall amounts are pretty copious. It is going to let up some as we head through the remainder of the afternoon, not as intense as it was, but the flash flood warnings will continue for a while longer, certainly, as we work to drain this water from these thunderstorms and this heavy rain band that's set up across the St. Louis area. Don't drive through flooded roads this afternoon, Kay.
No, that is the best advice. Stay where you are. If you're in a safe place, stay where you are at this point until the rain and the high water recedes. Now, hundreds of people have been evacuated from Nashville. It's a major breaking story we've been following. And Robert Townsend has been in that area all morning. Even he has had trouble getting close to the town of Nashville. Robert, what can you tell us right now? What's happening where you are?
Hey, Kay, in the last few minutes, the situation has changed out here along 64 in the Nashville area. Again, we're about 2 miles officially from Nashville, but if you look back there, you can see a police car. His lights are flashing. He is blocking the interstate right there and turning these drivers around. Eastbound drivers are now being turned around right there at that mile marker just before the exit 50, the 50 exit here in this Washington County area. Those drivers are now being rerouted, heading westbound on 64, all because of the flash flooding and the situation here. An officer just telling us a few minutes ago that there is major flooding just down the road here. We're trying to get there, but again, it's all touch and go because it's a very serious situation. But at this point, we're not seeing any other drivers obviously coming this way, but we're on top of this, just trying to make it to Nashville, Illinois, and talk to those people who were evacuated from their homes, as you mentioned, Kay. But again, it's a slow go situation. We're going to actually have to be rerouted, so it'll take some time, but we're on top of it for now. Live in Washington County, Illinois, I'm Robert Townsend, 5 on your side, Kay?
So, Robert, it looks like the rain may be letting up a little bit where you are. Is it improving?
Yeah, and it's very dicey. I mean, one time we were on the air and it was kind of not raining, but right now it's coming down even on me. As you can see, the raincoat's wet, the mic's wet. It's just up and down, and that's why a lot of these folks are running into situations where, look at these fields, this field here, the water's just flowing, just flowing, just flowing. 30 minutes ago, it wasn't raining here. Now, as we're on the air again, it started back up. So it's definitely a roller coaster out here.
Well, that's what meteorologist Scott Connell's been worried about, the training, right? Those storms that are just repeatedly moving over that area and all this water with no place to go. That's what you're seeing.
Yeah, I got to tell you that, yeah, for sure. I mean, again, the fields it's just inundated. Everything out here is just inundated with lots and lots of water. It's just a wet mess out here, and that's why they're turning these drivers around, because they just obviously want to play it safe. This road is completely wet, and again, just about 10 to anywhere from 10 to 20 miles from the road here, we understand that area is flooded. So we're trying to get there to try to give you a better idea as to what these families are experiencing after these dam issues this morning, Kay.
Sounds like you're going to have to find another way in. Thank you so much, Robert. All right, we are continuing to get all kinds of pictures and video into the newsroom. We're going to take a look now at some of the scenarios playing out all around the region. 5 on your side's Mercedes McKay back in studio to show us what's going on. Mercedes?
Okay, the videos and pictures are just unbelievable. We've had a ton just like this one you're seeing behind me from the Metro East. Let's look at some up more closely. This one we just got minutes ago into the newsroom. This is video from Jonah Kemp. It's a mechanic shop called Zapp's. People were actually carrying out crates from their cars. Then this video, unbelievable, at 10 a.m. from Andrew Bleesh, showing the flooding on 64. We've been talking about that closure just past Nashville. You can see flooding into the ditch. Here's another look at Interstate 64. Different perspective by the Nashville exit. Christy Jackson sent this in to us. She had to drive through that. Here's a picture Jasmine Karen Brooks Senholt sent us. This is flooding at Nashville Park. Then coming up, we got this picture in from Yvonne Ruby Overton. You can see, Kay, that it looks like a car is flipped on the side of the road. And now take a look at your screen here. You're going to have to look closely. These are pictures from Josh O'Brien. It's over on Highway 15, just 2.5 miles east of Nashville, Illinois. The water is so high, you can see that it goes right below the taillights of that one car. We've also been getting videos and pictures in from the Metro East, as well as the animal shelter, Kay, that you've been talking about, where they're trying to rescue those pets as well. We're hoping to get those on in the next few minutes so you can see just what that shelter is dealing with. Of course, we want you to send in these pictures and videos, but we also want you to be safe about it. That number on your screen there is how you can text us those videos and pictures, 314-425-5355. Kay?
All right, thanks so much, Mercedes. We're going to check back in with 5 on your side's Annie Kroll, live in St. Clair County. Multiple rescues there, Annie. Water over many roads, lots of flooding. The interstate even closed, I-64. What's happening right now?
Kay, I am not far from North Greenmount Road, and right now I'm on Frank Scott Parkway, and it is just a water park out here. The parking lots have standing water. I was talking to a local business owner just a little bit ago, and he said he's never seen standing water like this in the 13 years he's owned this business. The temperature has dropped. It's muggy. I just checked. The temperature is about 85 degrees, but it does not feel like this out here. I'm going to let you take a look at what we're seeing right now with that water park mentality. It is just a fountain. Trucks coming through, trying to get all the way. If you have a lower car, your wheels are getting halfway submerged because of all of this water. When you see cars go by, you just see this major splash because there is so much standing water. That fountain that we were talking about a little bit earlier, it looks like it just has a spring, but we believe it could possibly be a sewer that's backed up. And I was just speaking with a different manager of a business that's nearby. He said that they had this completely redone just about a year ago, and all of this water is just coming too fast for the system to handle it right now. An Ameren truss just a couple minutes ago, the Ameren truck just came right past us. There's some power outages that are an issue. I was speaking with, again, a different local business owner in this area who said their power went out at 9:30 in Shiloh. It came back at 11:30. We've been hearing from other local business owners that their power is still out. So again, those emergency crews are so crucial right now to try and get all of this power back. But again, we're trying to see drivers going around off the road right now in front of us right here on Frank Scott Parkway. They are going around just trying to stay out of it. I spoke with a driver earlier who had his truck go into a big puddle. It was not as big as he thought. It ended up going into his truck. There was water cascading through. This is just a bad situation for drivers. Not a good time to be out. If you can, stay inside. Otherwise, avoid as many of these puddles and major roadways that we've been talking about on air, because there is just so much damage, as you can see coming through. It is just too high for most drivers. It's not something you want to be driving through. Again, it looks a lot like a water park and not like a parking lot at all. Again, we are on Frank Scott Parkway and not far from North Greenmount Road right here in Shiloh in St. Clair County. Reporting live, Annie Krall, 5 on your side.
All right, thank you so much, Annie. Let's take a closer look now at that animal shelter in St. Clair County. These pictures are from the folks there who are seeing massive flooding. St. Clair County Animal Services right now evacuating the animals to Gateway Pet Guardians. They're looking for fosters because there's just no safe place to keep these animals. You might remember back in July of 2022, the exact same thing happened. The animals were up to water to their chests. They're trying to avoid that. The water is coming up and they're getting those animals out. In Godfrey, Illinois, we're getting this video. This is from a viewer. Massive flooding in that area. This is along Illinois Route 3 and Wendell Road. You can see the water running off the hills and down the street like a river. And there's the car sitting in this. This is what you don't want to do. You do not want to drive onto a flooded street. So look at this. Rushing like a river. These are roads and areas that don't normally flood. So if you are going to go out and you run across a road that has water on it, a road that usually is fine, turn around. Do not drive into that. Here's an example in the city of St. Louis, the fire department telling us Van de Venderet Market avoid due to major standing water. We also know there's been standing water on Forest Park Parkway at southbound I-170. We know Laclede Station, which notoriously floods during heavy rain, that has also been underwater. Many roads closed in Lincoln County. We know that northbound off-ramp from 61 to 47 has been closed, along with many other areas there, 47 at Hammett Road. And we also know that in St. Charles, Cottleville, Ohms Road at Mid-Rivers Mall, use an alternate, that has been closed. The ramps from I-70 to O'Fallon and Jungerman, there were several ramps that were underwater, so those were being closed as well. We will follow all of this. We have a long list of roads closed in Jefferson County, but let's get right to Scott Connell. He's in the Weather Impact Center. Scott, brief us again on this rain, and do you see any break at all coming?
We are beginning to see the signs, Kay, that it is breaking a little bit, at least letting up in intensity. Okay, so we probably still have another inch or so to go out of this batch that's out to the west of St. Louis right now. That's what we're thinking, but it's not nearly as intense as it was, which is a good thing. Honestly, we don't need any more rain in the metro area, but we still have another ½ an inch to an inch to get through as this batch kind of pushes in from the west. Now, the stronger thunderstorms that prompted tornado warnings earlier have significantly weakened as they continue to move towards Nashville, Illinois, across southern St. Clair County and northern portions of Randolph County right now. You still have some lightning and thunder in there. That is going to be pressing over the areas hard hit early this morning with thunderstorms and heavy rainfall, and of course with the dam breach there in Nashville. So that's not good news. You may get another 1 to 2 inches of rain out of that. And of course, we still have this area that's now pushing back into St. Charles County. That's a fairly steady rain, but not quite as intense as what we were seeing early this morning. Nonetheless, flash flood warnings continue across the entire metro St. Louis area into this afternoon. It's going to take a while to drain the amount of water we have seen around the St. Louis area. Particularly of concern right now here into St. Clair County and then east into Washington and Clinton counties, especially Washington County with the dam breach, then back through portions of Monroe, Jefferson County. These are the areas that are still getting some of that heavier rain, and most likely this next batch that comes in, even though it's not as intense, it's not going to let the water drain. You also have to remember that the Mississippi River and the Missouri River both are still running high from the recent rain. They've been dropping, but they're still running high, and that tends to, it tends to hold back some of the drainage from some of the smaller creeks and streams when the big rivers are running high. Now, as we go farther to the east, over along Interstate 57, we're still finding flood concerns here, Jefferson County into Marion County, Illinois. Again, this area, all of this area east of St. Louis, really along the 64 corridor out of St. Louis over towards Mount Vernon, seeing as much as 5 to 7 inches of rain, maybe locally more, with these tropical rainfall scenarios that play out. These storms very efficient at producing heavy rainfall, and that does extend down into parts of Jefferson County, also back here into eastern portions of Warren County, out around Innsbrook, south of Warrenton, west of New Melle, the area here in Jersey County, including the Grafton area, looking at upwards of 4 to 6 inches of rainfall. And really, the focus here is on that area along 64, where we continue to still see some heavy rainfall. We're adding on to the totals here. This is the Kaskaskia River. It's been in flood in the last week or so. It's been running incredibly high. There's been flooding on either side of that. So we continue to monitor that situation as well. So, you're talking about the creeks and streams being overwhelmed at this point with the amount of water that we have seen. The good news is that we are beginning to see, the heavier rainfall diminish across the Region K, and that should at least not make it any worse than it already is. But we can't emphasize this enough. If there's water on the roads, you don't want to drive through it. 12 inches of water that's flowing across the road could actually move your car off the road and then into a creek, which would be running even faster and more furious. And then you're swept away and you got a big problem. You also have problems with the water that's standing on the roads. So, don't drive through the flooded roads. If you can hang out this afternoon wherever you are, that's a good idea, and just wait for things to settle down, wait for the water to, roll off, drain off.
To recede, exactly.
It's going to take a while.
Yeah, roads that don't normally flood, that don't normally get water at all, they're seeing that right now. So, expect the unexpected. If you can't avoid it and you have to go out, expect the unexpected. All right, Mercedes McKay has been our eyes to the outside. She's been looking at just dozens of pictures and videos that you've been sending in, many of them from the Nashville area. She's back in studio to show us what's happening. Mercedes?
Okay, the pictures and videos are almost startling. You and Scott were just talking about people going into the roads and driving into them. Well, these pictures and videos we're getting is showing the, what happens when you do that. So let's take a look really closely. We just got this in minutes ago. It's from Clarence Borowick. That's on the Washington and Perry County line. That's Doughboys Blacktop, just southeast of Nashville. Then this picture here, Kay, I know that you just mentioned Gateway Pet Guardians and that they are having to evacuate their animals there. That picture that's about to come up right now, that just shows what the outside of that building looks like as they're trying to get those animals out and get them safe and get them in a shelter without without that starting to flood up. And again, we keep seeing all these pictures and videos. We got a lot earlier this morning from the Nashville area of the road closures you've been talking about, Kay. 64 over in Nashville as well has been one that has just been flooding immensely. So again, Scott and you have been saying it all day long. So just make sure you are staying put and staying where you are right now, because these videos and pictures we keep getting sent in just show how remarkable these floodwaters are, and we really want you to be safe. We do love these pictures and videos you are sending us, but make sure you're being safe when you do it. Text the word 314-425-5355. Again, 314-425-5355, and we'll get your pictures and videos on air. Okay?
Thank you so much, Mercedes. I have to say, after looking at all of that, historic rainfall and historic flooding, this is pretty unprecedented to have this much rain in this short a period of time, in this large of an area. Basically, all around our entire viewing area has been experiencing heavy rain and flooding, so please stay safe. All right, we have brought the expert in. Paul Cook is our traffic reporter. He has just walked back in, and he has the very latest for us on the long list, Paul. It's hard to even keep up because there's so much flooding.
Okay, this is absolutely stunning. We're talking about tons and tons of water on the roads. You've heard Scott talking about it a lot. Don't drive through. If you can't see, it's always best to turn around. I've even been out there driving around trying to find out, where the water is ponding in areas that you wouldn't normally expect. We've got that splash over the highway. As you can see right here, same story. These are highways, 55 southbound. You're also here near 270. As you can tell, 70 at 270 in Maryland Heights. I want to take you over here, if we can, to a map. Look at this delay here going east and west on 44. This is all due to ponding, of course, and floods across the area. So right now, we've been talking so much about Illinois, Nashville, everywhere out there to the east, but Missouri also dealing with so much here. And it's all about cars that stop working. Maybe they weren't prepared, or someone went a little bit through the water here, and then the car stops working. It's just one of those things. Make sure you got your cell phone. Make sure you're charged. If you're out there, the thing is, plug it in. Don't go out. Also, as Scott has been saying, and you guys have been saying, don't go out if you don't have to. You're not seeing the major delays in spots, where I'm pointing here, 70, 64, 40, but you will. It will be big out there, like 125 right now. It's going to be horrendous afternoon, so you're in the right place to check any of that out, and we will definitely keep you updated. So we're going to be watching it very closely. We'll also have alternate routes around areas where ponding is going to be an issue, but there's water everywhere, and we just didn't need it. So I'm going to go look at that stuff, and we'll be right back with more.
All right, thank you so much, Paul. Let's go back out to 5 on your side's Annie Kroll. She's in St. Clair County. Annie, what's going on in St. Clair County at this point?
Okay, roads still flooding, as Paul just said. I'm right now at Frank Scott Parkway and not far from North Greenmount Road here in Shiloh. Drivers, unfortunately, are not taking all of the advice we've been giving. They're still driving through Frank Scott Parkway, and as soon as they do that, you see a water park effect, just water completely flooding up and spraying past the drivers. You can see some of their tires are submerged, not completely halfway at this point, but at least a good quarter of those truck tires are inside the water on Frank Scott Parkway. As you can see, that's that water park effect I was talking about a little bit earlier. The rushing water, it looks like it's just a fountain, a bubble inside a parking lot. It's not what it's supposed to look like. We believe there's a chance that some of those sewers that are backing up and just can't take this amount of rain volume in this short a time frame. We're in a parking lot right now. We're not far from a Dierberg's, from a Ross, from a Crumble Cookies. These folks are still out here during the lunch hour trying to either get to work, get a certain meal. We were speaking with a driver earlier today in Belleville who had his truck submerged. Water actually started to come into the cab of his truck. He now has had to take it to an auto dealership. We will have that full story later for you tonight. We've also been speaking with local business owners, and they said it has never been this bad in the last 13 years that they've been working in this Shiloh area. I also spoke with a different manager who said that they had this entire area redone just a year ago, and look what's happening right now. It's just not enough time for this water to recede. And what's hard about this is that it's Frank Scott Parkway that continues to be a problem area, but again, not the only issue out here in Shiloh. Reporting live, Annie Kroll, 5 on your side.
All right, let's take a live look now at Interstate 270 at 370, where you can see emergency vehicles on the scene here. High water causing a lot of problems. This is 270 at 370. Traffic moving very slowly. You'll want to avoid that area. Let's get in with meteorologist Scott Connell. He's back in the Weather Impact Center with an update.
Well, we continue with our weather impact alert through the afternoon hours until this rain gets out of here. Flash flood warnings continuing virtually for the entire metro area for sure. We've seen upwards of 5 to 7 inches of rain east of St. Louis along 64. Still some heavy rain there. What's coming in from the west isn't as heavy right now, but we are still tracking some of this rain that's moderate and probably gives us another inch or so of rainfall as it presses into the metro area during the course of the next hour or two. By 3 or 4 o'clock this afternoon, our anticipation is that we will start to see this easing a bit. But we still have this rain that's just now coming into St. Charles County. That still has to pass through all of the metro area, and an additional inch of rain is possible with that. Don't drive into flooded roads this afternoon. Let's stay safe out there, St. Louis.
All right, thank you so much, Scott, and thank you for joining us. We're going to return you to your regular programming. No, we will break back in if the situation warrants, and we'll see you live on 5 on Your Side at 4, 5, and 6.